Are you ready to see 4 coins that could be worth a fortune? In today's video, we're revealing the top 4 rare coins that collectors are hunting for right now. Some of these coins may look ordinary, but with the right date or mint mark, they could be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before you spend your pocket change, watch this carefully. One small detail could change everything. Let's get started. Top 1. The 1984 5 cents with a D mint mark. Yes, a simple nickel that many people have seen, used, and ignored. But what if I told you that one special version of this coin, even in circulated very fine condition with scratches, has been valued in today's auction market at around $180,000? Stay with me, because this story might make you check every nickel in your collection. The 1984 5 cents coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why you see the D mint mark on the reverse side of the coin next to Monticello. This coin features the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, a design that has been part of American coinage since 1938. By 1984, millions of nickels were produced for everyday circulation. Most of them are only worth face value. However, certain rare varieties, large date variations, striking errors, and unusual die conditions can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. Collectors are especially interested in what is known as a large date variety. In some cases, differences in the size or spacing of the numbers in the date can create a rare subtype that was produced in smaller quantities. These differences may seem tiny to the naked eye, but under magnification, the date appears bolder and slightly larger than standard issues. When this variation is combined with other minting anomalies, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unique die breaks, the value can skyrocket. Now, let's talk about condition. The coin we're discussing is in circulated, very fine condition, with visible scratches. Normally, scratches and circulation reduce a coin's value. In very fine condition, the details on Jefferson's hair are still visible but slightly worn, and Monticello on the reverse shows moderate flattening. Even with these imperfections, rarity always comes first in the world of coin collecting. If the coin has a rare die variety or dramatic mint error, collectors are willing to pay huge amounts, even if the coin is not in mint state. So how can a 1984 D nickel reach $180,000 at auction? The answer lies in extreme rarity and collector demand. If only a handful of these large date error varieties were discovered, and if they were authenticated and graded by a top professional grading service, competition among serious collectors could push the price to astonishing levels. Auction prices are often driven by bidding wars. When two determined buyers both want the same rare coin, the final price can go far beyond expectations. Another important factor is authentication. Any coin believed to be worth thousands or hundreds of thousands must be verified by a professional grading company. They examine the metal composition, weight, diameter, mint mark style, and die characteristics. A certified holder not only protects the coin, but also gives buyers confidence. Without certification, it is almost impossible to achieve a record-breaking price. It's also important to understand that the standard 1984 D nickel found in pocket change is common. The high value applies only to extremely rare varieties or error examples. That's why careful inspection is so important. Use a magnifying glass to examine the date. Look closely at the mint mark. Check for doubling in the letters or numbers. Notice any unusual thickness in the date digits. Compare your coin to verified examples from trusted numismatic sources. The excitement of coin collecting comes from stories exactly like this. Imagine finding an old nickel in a coin jar, noticing something unusual about the date, and discovering it could be worth life-changing money. It has happened before with other coins, and it continues to happen today. Hidden treasures are still out there, waiting to be discovered. The 1984 5 cents with AD mint mark reminds us that value is not always obvious. A coin that once bought a piece of candy could now be worth as much as a luxury house. That possibility keeps collectors searching through rolls of coins from banks, estate sales, and flea markets every single day. Top 2. The 1983 5 cents with a P mint mark. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary nickel featuring Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back. Millions were struck for circulation, and most are still only worth 5 cents. But under the right circumstances, one special large date variety in circulated very fine condition, even with scratches, has reached an astonishing value in today's auction market. The 1983 nickel was produced during a time when the United States Mint was focusing on high-speed coin production to meet demand. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P mint mark, struck a massive number of 5-cent pieces that year. For decades, these coins passed from hand to hand unnoticed. However, collectors later discovered that certain varieties stood out from the rest. Among them was a rare large date variation, where the numbers in 1983 appear noticeably bolder and slightly larger than the standard issue. To the untrained eye, the difference may seem tiny, but experienced numismatists know that small design changes can mean big money. The large date variety often results from a different die preparation or hubbing process. Sometimes it can also be associated with subtle doubling or spacing differences in the numbers. When only a limited number of these dies were used before being replaced, the result is a scarce subtype that becomes highly desirable. Now, let's talk about condition. The example we are discussing is not a flawless mint state coin locked away in a vault. It is circulated and graded in very fine condition, with visible scratches from years of use. In very fine condition, Jefferson's hair details are worn but still clear, and Monticello shows moderate flattening on its steps and columns. Scratches may appear on the fields, and the surfaces show evidence of handling. Normally, collectors prefer coins with minimal wear. However, when rarity is extreme, even circulated examples can command extraordinary prices. So how can a circulated 1983 P nickel reach $160,000? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, authentication, and demand. If the large date variety is proven to be extremely scarce, perhaps only a handful confirmed, collectors will compete fiercely to own one. In auction environments, bidding wars can erupt when serious buyers recognize an opportunity to secure a rare piece for their collection. When competition intensifies, prices can climb rapidly beyond expectations. Authentication is absolutely critical in cases like this. A coin with such a high claimed value must be examined and certified by a respected third-party grading service. Experts analyze its weight, diameter, metallic composition, mint mark placement, and die characteristics. They also confirm that the large date is genuine and not the result of post-mint alteration. Once authenticated and encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder, the coin gains credibility and trust in the marketplace. Another factor that drives value is collector psychology. Modern coins are often overlooked, so when a rare variety is discovered among billions of common examples, excitement builds quickly. The idea that a modern pocket coin can rival the value of classic 19th century rarities captures attention across the numismatic community. Media coverage, online forums, and social platforms can amplify demand, pushing prices even higher. It's important to understand that the vast majority of 1983 P nickels are common. Finding one worth 6 figures is extremely unlikely. That's why careful inspection is key. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to examine the date closely. Compare the size and thickness of the numbers with verified images from reliable numismatic sources. Look for any unusual spacing or boldness in the digits. Also inspect for doubling in the lettering or other striking anomalies. Coin collecting remains one of the few hobbies where everyday objects can turn into life-changing discoveries. Stories of valuable coins found in change jars, bankrolls, or inherited collections continue to inspire collectors worldwide. The 1983 5 cents with a P Mint mark reminds us that even modern coins can hold hidden potential. Top 3. The 1930 Buffalo 5 cents coin with no mint mark, a large date variety that has captured the attention of serious collectors across the United States. Even in circulated, rusty fine condition with visible scratches, certain rare examples have reached astonishing prices in today's auction market. This coin belongs to the famous Buffalo Nickel series, one of the most iconic designs in American numismatic history. The coin was designed by the talented sculptor James Earl Fraser and first introduced in 1913. Fraser wanted to create a design that truly represented the American spirit. On the obverse, the strong profile of a Native American chief reflects the heritage and history of the nation. On the reverse, the powerful American bison stands proudly, symbolizing strength and the wild frontier. By 1930, the Buffalo Nickel series was well established. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck millions of nickels. Coins produced in Philadelphia during this period carried no mint mark, which is why the 1930 issue we are discussing does not display a letter under the denomination. Most 1930 Buffalo nickels are relatively common in worn grades because they circulated heavily during the Great Depression era. The Buffalo nickel design is known for wearing down quickly. The date, located on the obverse near the Native American's shoulder, often fades after years of circulation. That makes clearly dated examples more collectible. However, what truly sets certain 1930 coins apart is the presence of a large date variety. In this variation, the numbers in 1930 appear thicker, slightly taller, or more boldly struck than standard issues. These subtle differences usually result from variations in die preparation or hubbing at the mint. When only a limited number of dies produce a distinct large date style before being replaced, the surviving coins become scarce. Over time, collectors identify these small differences and categorize them as special varieties. If research shows that only a handful of genuine large-date 1930 no-mint mark nickels exist, demand can increase dramatically. Now consider the condition described as circulated, rusty fine with scratches. In fine condition, the main details of the design are still visible. The Native American's facial outline is strong, though hair details are worn. The buffalo's body is clear, but the fur texture is mostly smooth from circulation. Rusty toning may appear due to environmental exposure, and scratches from everyday handling can be seen across the surface. Normally, such imperfections would lower a coin's value significantly. However, rarity changes everything. In numismatics, scarcity often outweighs condition. If the 1930 no-mint mark large date variety is proven to be extremely rare, even a circulated example can command a six-figure price. Collectors assembling complete Buffalo nickel sets are often willing to compete aggressively for key varieties. When two determined bidders meet in a major auction, prices can rise quickly. Authentication is essential for a coin valued at $190,000. Professional grading services carefully examine the coin's weight, metal composition, die characteristics, and strike quality. They verify that the large date is genuine and not altered. Once certified and sealed in a protective holder, the coin gains credibility in the marketplace. Buyers feel confident bidding high amounts when authenticity is guaranteed. Auction results are driven by both rarity and excitement. The Buffalo Nickel series has always been popular because of its bold design and connection to early 20th century America. When a rare variety appears publicly for sale, it creates buzz among collectors. Competitive bidding can push the final sale price far beyond initial estimates. It is important to remember that most 1930 Buffalo nickels without a mint mark are worth modest amounts, especially in worn condition. Discovering one worth $190,000 would be extremely rare. That is why careful examination is so important. If you have a 1930 Buffalo nickel, study the date closely with magnification. Compare the size and shape of the digits to confirmed large date examples from trusted numismatic references. Look for distinctive die markers or unusual thickness in the numbers. Coin collecting remains one of the few hobbies where hidden treasures may still be found in old collections, estate sales, or forgotten coin jars. The idea that a simple 5-cent piece from 1930 could now equal the value of a house keeps collectors searching every day. Top 4. The 1936 Buffalo 5 cents coin with no mint mark, a large date variety that has stunned collectors in the auction world. At first glance, it may look like just another old nickel with heavy wear, rusty surfaces, and scratches from years of circulation. But certain rare examples of this coin, even in circulated fine condition, have been valued in today's auction market at around $190,000. The coin we're discussing belongs to the famous Buffalo Nickel series, which was produced from 1913 to 1938. Designed by renowned sculptor James Earl Fraser, the Buffalo Nickel remains one of the most iconic coins in United States history. On the obverse, the powerful profile of a Native American chief represents strength and heritage. On the reverse, an American bison stands boldly, symbolizing the spirit of the American West. This artistic design is one reason the series continues to attract passionate collectors. In 1936, the Philadelphia Mint produced Buffalo nickels without a mint mark, which is standard for coins struck there during that era. Millions were made, and most are common today in lower grades. The Buffalo nickel design, however, is known for wearing down quickly. The date is often the first detail to fade, which makes well-preserved dates especially desirable. The focus here is on a large date variety. In certain cases, subtle differences in the size, thickness, or spacing of the digits in 1936 can indicate a specific die variety. A large date may appear slightly bolder, with thicker numerals compared to the standard issue. These differences might have resulted from variations in the die hubbing process or from experimental adjustments at the mint. If only a limited number of dies carried this distinctive large date characteristic, surviving examples could be extremely rare. Now let's talk about condition. The example in question is circulated and described as rusty fine with scratches. In fine condition, the major details of the design are still visible, although worn. The Native Americans' braid and facial features remain clear but softened. On the reverse, the buffalo's outline is strong, though much of the fur detail is flattened. Rusty discoloration suggests environmental exposure, possibly from moisture or improper storage over time. Scratches across the surface reflect years of handling in everyday transactions. Normally, collectors prefer coins in higher grades with minimal surface damage. Rust and scratches typically lower a coin's value significantly. However, rarity can outweigh condition. If the 1936 no mint mark large date variety is confirmed to be exceptionally scarce, even a circulated example can command extraordinary prices. In the world of numismatics, scarcity and demand drive value more than appearance alone. So how does a coin like this reach $190,000 at auction? The answer lies in authentication and competitive bidding. A coin with such a high estimated value must be verified by a professional grading service. Experts examine the metal composition, weight, strike characteristics, and die markers. They confirm that the large date is genuine and not altered after minting. Once authenticated and sealed in a certified holder, the coin gains credibility and becomes eligible for major auction houses. At auction, serious collectors compete for rare pieces to complete high-end sets. The Buffalo Nickel series is especially popular, and certain varieties are considered essential for advanced collections. When two determined bidders recognize the opportunity to secure an extremely rare die variety, bidding can escalate quickly. Prices can climb far beyond expectations, resulting in record-breaking sales. It's important to remember that the majority of 1936 Buffalo Nickels without a mint mark are common and worth modest amounts in circulated condition. Finding a six-figure example would be incredibly rare. That's why knowledge and careful inspection are essential. If you own a 1936 Buffalo Nickel, examine the date closely with a magnifying glass. Compare the size and shape of the numbers to verified large date examples from reliable numismatic sources. Look for unusual thickness in the digits or distinctive die markers. Coin collecting continues to fascinate people because of stories like this. A small 5-cent coin that once bought everyday items could now be worth as much as a luxury home. The idea that hidden value may be sitting in an old coin jar or inherited collection keeps collectors searching.